Hi, Tim here with Clive Coffee. Today we're going to show you how to replace the pressure safety valve vacuum breaker combo unit that's on your steam boiler on your Lucca M58. The tools that you're going to need today: we're going to be using a vice grip and an adjustable wrench. Here is our piece that we're going to be replacing. It's our combination safety valve, pressure safety valve, which is on the bottom, and then the vacuum breaker is pointing up on the top here. You may also use a replacement zip tie and then a clip to get into that zip tie. Once you have the panels off the machine, you'll be able to locate the replacement part, this vacuum breaker, and on the bottom side of it you'll see your pressure safety valve. It's one unit and it's located at the top of your steam boiler on this side that's closest to your steam arm. We will begin by removing our tubes. There's a zip tie on here that you may end up replacing if it's cracked. But it can usually slide right off, so we'll just set that aside. And the tube on the bottom, we'll remove that. So now we will remove and loosen the nut that is on the end of this elbow joint here, and on the other end is attached to a thin copper tube. So go ahead and loosen that up. So now this piece is loose. So finally, the last bolt that is holding it to the machine, we'll find that over here. At this point, we're going to need our vice grip to get a grip on the other end here. And the reason being, when I go to twist this bolt here, this entire middle piece on the vacuum breaker pressure safety valve will just spin, so we won't be able to actually loosen it up until we have something holding it on this side. And the vice grip is going to be the easiest thing that we'll be able to grip onto that. And now just a quick, that loosens it up enough. And this comes off completely. At this point, I will also remove the elbow, as we'll be putting that back on our machine. And we're going to go ahead and replace that piece completely with a brand new vacuum breaker pressure safety valve. We suggest replacing the entire unit. If you try to replace individual gaskets or components in the pressure or in the vacuum breaker, they tend to leak quite a bit. So replacing that as a brand new unit will be the best way to go. So we can start by putting the elbow back onto our replacement part. It's the only threading that would fit the female end on your replacement part here, and then we can go ahead and tighten that down. And at this point, I have the elbow reattached, and you want to be sure that both of these threaded ends are pointing in the same direction, because that's how we're going to be replacing it on the machine. And again, this vacuum breaker, so this smoother piece is facing up, and your pressure safety valve is facing down. It has the ribbed fitting for the tubing. So this will go in place here, and we can start with the larger nut on the copper tubing here, and we'll line up our second smaller threading. The smaller nut will go in place, and we'll get these both hand tight, make sure everything is in place, and then we'll go in with our wrench and tighten everything down. And again, to get a good seal on this piece here, as you see, the bolt on the outside will spin. We'll use our vise just to hold that down. And with the vise grip in place, you only need just about a quarter, really an eighth of a turn, just to ensure that this is tightened, fitting that copper tubing to the vacuum breaker. And on the other side, that smaller piece as well. Once it reaches the tension point, we don't want to tighten it down too much further, but just tight enough to seal up. So once I have a little bit of pressure, a gentle extra turn, just a very small amount to ensure that those fittings are in place. And now we can reattach our tubes. This one that's positioned on the bottom goes to the bottom where our pressure safety valve is. And then you might end up replacing this zip tie here. Slide the tubing in place. Slip the zip tie around to tighten it. And we'll trim this up. And that's how you replace the vacuum breaker pressure safety valve combo on your Lucca M58 steam boiler. For more information on using your machine, check out the links here. For other tech tips, visit our knowledge base at clivecoffee.com.